something that a lot of people were getting excited about is, and I guess people are always looking forward, right, to Nintendo's showcase at E3.
Yeah.
Especially, I think we got a Nintendo Direct maybe like 3 months ago from Nintendo. And then so we
Yeah.
got another basically Nintendo Direct at E3 event. Um, and I don't know, there was quite a few games that came out of this. Some people there's like mixed reviews on it too. Like some people thought it was really good, others thought it was like meh, like whatever. Out of the Nintendo Direct showcase, what stood out to you?
Definitely Metroid,
Metroid,
I
yeah.
think. Yeah, yeah, Metroid looked fun. It looked amazing. It took me back for sure. It made me feel like, a Metroid game I guess has been needed for sure for a while. So they definitely, I guess, listened to their community. I guess people have been asking. I feel like for Metroid game for forever. So definitely that, and I guess Breath of the Wild as well. That was obviously a great game, but um, people I guess are excited for
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild. I was a little bit surprised by the not surprised, I guess, the cinematic for the
Mario Rabbits.
Mario Rabbit. Yeah, I was a little confused for a second there. I was like, the cinematic was going for a little long, and I was just like, what are they trying to do for a second? And then it was slowly getting there, but
Yeah.
that looked pretty
Yeah,
interesting
I
too.
think unfortunately the coolest news that came out of Nintendo for me is, and you can actually see in the background here, is Kazuya Mishima added to Smash Brothers, and from
Yeah,
Tekken. So I'm not a big Tekken guy, but I remember I was talking to Eddie about this because he's a huge Tekken player, and he's like, "Really, they're adding
yeah,
him?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah," and they had this really funny like cinematic where they were like picking up, or if you've ever played Tekken, there's a cinematic where Kazuya like gets the people that he beats and he like drops them off a cliff, and then they were
yeah.
showing him getting the different characters from Smash
He's like
Brothers.
Kirby or
Yeah,
someone. Yeah, he was. I think the last one was like Kirby.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Last
saw
one
that.
was Kirby. He drops off the cliff and Kirby just like puffs back up behind him. Um, I thought that was
Yeah,
really cool. Like obviously as a Smash Brothers fan, seeing all these characters from all these other games showing up. I mean, you already had Ryu, you had Cloud, you have like obviously the Sonic and
yeah,
Snake and all these characters just coming in from everywhere. I just think it just adds to both the lore of Smash Brothers and just the overall excitement around it, just keeping it fresh, right? So I think
yeah.
that's
Yeah, it definitely
yeah,
fits. It definitely
yeah.
fits. Right. It's going to be easy transition, and people are going to play them. So I think that's all I
Yeah, I
want, I
think
guess.
ever since we got Ryu from Street Fighter in there, it just kind of opened it wide up. It's like, okay, now we can have
Yeah,
anyone in here, really. If you can
yeah,
get those types
definitely.
of video games and their fighting styles to fit into Smash Brothers, because I
Hmm.
mean, if you think about it, Smash Brothers is really weird in how they do their fighting system, right? Like all these other games, Street Fighter, Tekken, even like Marvel vs. Capcom, everyone has a health bar that goes down. Whereas in
Yeah,
this one, it's percentages that go up, and the higher percentage you are, the more likely you are to go flying off the map. So it's different in
yeah,
that way, and the fact that they're able to get this different style of fighting game and pull these characters in and make them work, I think that's just a testament to how good Nintendo has really done with this franchise. So
yeah,
yeah, obviously, as a Smash Bros. Fanboy, I'm excited about that one. Uh,
yeah.
I don't know about Breath of the Wild, dude. Breath of the Wild 2 coming out. That was just there's so many better Zelda games that they could have made. Like
Yeah,
and I think they were kind of touching on Breath of the Wild also being a like a Skyward Sword kind of sequel
hmm,
because I don't know if you played Breath of the Wild, but in the original one you couldn't go into those sky islands like all that
yeah,
and in this gameplay they show Link going into the sky temples and all these other things. So it was almost like, is this gonna kind of combined Breath of the Wild with Skyward Sword? So
yeah,
there's that, and there's also this theory that I've been hearing people talk about that there's actually two Links in this game. So there's two Links that you're playing as that are connected like through like time and space, right? So maybe it's kind
yeah,
of a sequel to Breath of the Wild and a sequel to Skyward Sword, and they're
yeah,
just kind of bringing them together in this way. I think that would be really cool, right? But
Yeah,
I think Breath of the Wild is still new enough, and it's still getting enough like new playability, and I've seen it a lot in like speed runs and competitions that I think it's still a new enough game where we could have just done with a new Zelda game from another game, like a new Ocarina of Time would have been amazing.
yeah,
And I know a lot of people have been asking for them, right? For different Zelda games for a while now.
yeah,
So I know they just I know Nintendo saw how well they did with Breath of the Wild,
definitely.
and they're like, okay, we're gonna make a second one because we're just gonna capitalize on this. That was the best Zelda game, think, in the most purchased game they had in a
Yeah,
while. So it's gonna be obviously a business decision to make Breath of the Wild too. So
yeah, 100%. That's their probably only reasoning behind it. Like you said, maybe it was a little forced, but
yeah,
it was. I think it was a necessary decision that they had to make because you're not gonna capitalize. You can't. You have to capitalize on something like this when it's like you said, it's their biggest game. You have to make a sequel.
yeah,
It's if you don't, people are gonna be disappointed, or you're not gonna capitalize on that market for sure.
yeah,
So I think it's a necessary game that to make. Is it going to be good? It's probably going to be good, right?
yeah,
I mean, they,
yeah,
they, they usually fall through on their games. They usually do a pretty good job. So, you know, it, it's definitely a necessary decision they had to make.
yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah. So we'll see where it goes. I'll probably play Breath of the Wild 2 at some point when it comes out. But it's not one that I'm immediately gonna like jump on right when it comes out.
Yeah,
Um, for what was the other one you mentioned? Mario Rabbids.
Mario
Okay,
Rabbits. Yeah,
the new Mario Rabbids 2. I think Mario Rabbids 1 is has gone under the radar for far too long. Like not that many
yeah,
people played it, and I love that game. That game's so cool.
yeah.
Cause
But I feel like anybody that's ever played that game really, really
yeah,
enjoys it.
and I think a
Yeah,
lot of people don't know who like the Rabbids are, and like they come from Ubisoft, and actually the Mario Rabbids 2 it showed up twice during E3, right? It showed up in the Ubisoft
yeah,
showcase and at Nintendo Direct, and just having both of those developers working on a game alone is gonna tell you it's something good. But even with that, I think Mario Rabbids, the first one, I'll always talk good about the first one because um, the way that it worked is the same as I mentioned XCOM before. It's that type of strategy
yeah,
game where you have your characters and you tell them where to go, and you have them like take cover and then take a shot at the opposing team, and there's a percentage that they get of whether they hit a shot or not. And having that type of
yeah,
strategy game with like Mario and Rabbids, it just makes it fun. But at the same time, it has a a like high skill cap, right? Where you can actually like get so good at the game and compete with other people that the strategy really comes into play and taking chances to see if maybe you'll get a hit right now, maybe not, or maybe I should move my character to have a better shot. And
yeah,
then coming out with My Rabbits 2 just made sense to me, because the first one I think the first one's gonna go down as like a cult classic because everyone that I've
yeah,
like you said everyone that I've heard that's played it loved the game, and
yeah,
with
definitely.
Mario Rabbits 2 you really know they're doubling down on this, right? And part of the reason I'm okay with them making Mario Rabbids 2 but not Breath of the Wild 2 is that I don't feel like Mario Rabbids 1 got the same amount of like as big a player base as Zelda did as Breath of the Wild. Because
Yeah,
Breath of the Wild 1 it was a brand new Zelda game. Zelda already has its own like cult following, and obviously everyone was going to play it regardless if it was bad or not. But with Mario
yeah,
Rabbids, I think more people need to take a chance on it, and especially with Mario Rabbids 2 coming out, obviously Mario Rabbids 1 is gonna be cheaper. So I want
yeah.
people to give it a shot because I really think Mario Rabbids 2 is gonna be just as good, if not much better, than the first one. So yeah, I'm
Definitely,
excited for that.
definitely. Yeah, I feel like it's one of those that's gonna, like you said, it's going to come under the radar, and people are going to slowly enjoy it as more people try the game. Obviously, it's one of those where you have to just kind of like give it a shot. Give it a shot, and then like I told you, I think most of the people that do try it like it. So it's just one of those you just got to try it without even having any opinion on
Yep.
it. I guess.
Yeah. And then the last one we talked about was you mentioned Metroid. That was the one you're most
Metroid.
excited for.
Yeah, it looked awesome, man. I that No, it looked perfect. I don't know. I don't want to say perfect, but it looked like something that we've needed, I
Yeah.
guess. It looks enjoyable, and I can't wait for that for sure.
Yeah, it looks really good. I personally like. I'm a big Metroid fan. I was my top Metroid game, probably one of my top Nintendo games of all time is Metroid Prime. Um, and then it came out for I think the GameCube, and obviously this isn't going in that direction, right? This is going more for like the old style Metroid games, and I think
Yeah,
that's what makes it so cool. Like a new Metroid game, what's it called? Metroid Dread. Um, Coming
yeah,
out, that's gonna get a lot of people talking. And personally, I thought this was up there with Kazuya coming out in Smash as probably the most
yeah,
important announcement at E3 from Nintendo. Just because we haven't had a
yeah,
Metroid game in so long. I remember talking about Nintendo Direct. We talked about that maybe at the one that was like 6 months ago, and I was like, I need to hear something from Metroid because everyone's
yeah,
asking for it, right? Like we need something from in the Metroid universe at least, and then they just hit us with this, and I think this was almost out of left field too. I don't think anyone really
yeah,
expected a new Metroid game, and even with like we saw the gameplay obviously, and they had like brand new suits and brand new like enemies, and we saw a couple different like weapons. Like obviously Metroid is well known for the different customizations to the weapons that you can do throughout the game,
yeah,
and you saw different mechanics there that we hadn't seen in previous Metroid games. So overall, I mean, having this type of 2D scroller platformer coming out now, I think it's going to be really good, especially for the Switch. I think
yeah,
the Switch, like a lot of people, yes, a lot of people use it like in their home as almost like they did like the Wii. But we need to remember that it's also a handheld game, and as
traveling.
a travel game, I think Metroid kind of fits
Hmm.
it perfectly, right?
Definitely, yeah,
Yeah. So it,
that's to me like you said personally. If you have a Switch, you play it at home. I guess the most enjoyable part of a Switch is being able to take it on travel, take it on, being able to game on the go when you're not able to play, your games at home when you're on vacation or, you're on an airplane or something like that. That's the time to spend 4 hours just grinding Metroid. So
yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited for sure.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
it definitely looks like I guess the good thing is Nintendo, they really understand their fan base and they understand, I guess, what they want, and when people ask for something, usually they give it to them, or at least tactically they make the decisions, but they usually follow through with these games, and it definitely, I don't see them falling short on this one, at least from first glance, at least.
Nope, not at all. I'm already imagining all the like speed runs and stuff that people are gonna try to
Yeah,
be doing with these. Especially if you start getting into. I know a lot of 2D scrollers recently. Like I've been playing a lot of Hollow Knight lately,
yeah, all
and
right.
with that game, like yes, you have speed runs, but then you have like the boss speed runs, and now you have like different like everyone knows that when you have this type of single player game, there's going to be a speedrun aspect to it that is going to make it competitive, and
Yeah,
I feel like Nintendo understands that, and they're probably going to add some type of like speedrun mode where you can
yeah, that'd be
do
awesome.
like, oh, how fast can you beat all the bosses, or here are like certain like levers or stuff that you can turn on to make the game harder and try to beat it in this mode, or who knows to what extent the customizations will be for the weapons, where maybe you can like pick and choose which like weapon attachments you use going into a new battle or into a new level, or into like a boss fight. And I think more and more games are trending in that direction, and where there's all this customization. Like you saw it with Hades, right? Where
Yeah,
you play Hades and you keep the replayability of the single player game is what made that so cool. And Hades having come out on the Switch as well and on PC, I think they saw the importance of that, and they'll probably add it to this Metroid game, because
yeah,
I see it. I see Metroid definitely trending in that direction if like those types of roguelike games become kind of the standard for single player scrollers like that. So yeah, I think that'll be really cool, and yeah, I'm super excited for Metroid. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.